From policy at home to a challenging situation abroad, North Korea, the president says he knows a lot about dictator Kim Jong-un, telling Reuters he's 27 years old, his father dies, took over a regime. So say what you want, but that is not easy, especially at that age. I'm not giving him credit or not giving him credit. I'm just saying that that's a very hard thing to do. And to whether or not he's rational, I have no opinion on it. I hope he's rational. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson also gave some thought to Kim's psychological stability. Watch.
All indications are that he is not crazy. He may be ruthless, he may be a murderer, he may be someone who, in many respects, we would say by our standards is irrational, but he is not insane.
Mike Pregent is an adjunct fellow at the Hudson Institute and a former intelligence officer. Great to have you today and get your perspective on this. Let's start with the crazy, shall we? Because you've always heard that about this dictator. You back away sometimes from that language, I would think, Mike, because you don't want to give somebody an automatic out if, in fact, you think you're going to have to fight them. That's kind of the underlying thing that I see. What's your take?
Well, thanks for having me, Harris. Yeah, you don't want him to believe that you're going to do something because he may in fact be crazy and he may do something in desperation. I think it's good outreach to Kim Jong-un to say, listen, I know it was tough being 27 years old and becoming a dictator with all the knives out. Let's talk. Let's talk about your nuclear program. I think it's interesting that in 2016, Kim Jong-un increased his nuclear tests and also missile launches in hopes of getting an Iran deal-like benefit, meaning you could keep your nuclear program and you'd get a windfall of cash. The Obama administration ignored him, and I think he miscalculated with the Trump administration because they are looking at an imminent threat. So I think it's a good message to him to.
Yeah, you know what's interesting, though? It is completely opposite of some of the tough talk you've heard from our UN Ambassador Nikki Haley at the United Nations, and then the tougher talk from the Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who basically said, not only is the military on the table, but have you seen what we did over there? Have you seen what we might do? Like, we got stuff coming your way.
Right, right. When you assess what would have happened if we would have taken out Iran's nuclear facilities, you look at what Hezbollah would have done to Israel. In the case of North Korea, if we take out their nuclear facilities, we look at North Korean artillery decimating the demilitarized zone and Seoul. So there are two different calculations. So this is a positive message to the North Korean dictator that, hey, we don't think you're crazy, so don't do anything crazy.
You know, Mike, I wonder about this. In the 8 years under President Obama, we heard the words, whenever North Korea would do something, they're saber rattling. In my lifetime, have yet to see an actual saber in someone's hands. So I don't know how much rattling people do. But that's not what this president is saying anymore. The language has shifted. How significant is it?
Well, it's significant because if you look at the repositioning U.S. naval forces in the area, what Japan's doing, what South Korea's doing with their training missions, and then what we're seeing from North Korea, this is brinkmanship. This is what brinkmanship looks like. Now it's time to lessen the rhetoric and start seeing if there's some solutions. China's probably influencing Trump as much as Trump is influencing China on how to deal with North Korea. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is China telling the Trump administration, hey, let's stop calling him crazy, and let's try to look at what a crazy man would do with a nuclear arsenal.
You know, a lot is always made about those first 100 days of a presidency, and a lot of the mainstream media, and sometimes all of us catching ourselves talking about that. But this actually is impressive to have gotten to this point on the 99th day where you have such a huge shift in the talk coming out of the biggest house in the land, the people's house. It really is.
Yeah, it's sending messages to everyone. Pyongyang, Moscow, Beijing, Tehran, Damascus, Baghdad, all the places you want the message to go that the United States is different now. These first 100 days have not been like the last 8 years. You're going to be held accountable for your actions.
Any risks? What are they?
The risks. The risks are, what does a crazy dictator do if he believes there's an imminent U.S. strike? And that's the main concern, especially with North Korea's ability to punish South Korea. The other risks are, what messages does it send to other capitals if we don't do anything?
Mike Pregent, thank you for your time.